to learn your splits and slide with grace. Woohoo! Take a big leap with me. Today, on the 4th of the 4th, 24, to the journey into your splits. So you want to slide into your splits. For this class, you might need a pair of blocks and a pair of socks. And ooh, that rhymes. So obviously this class is going to have lots of deep stretching, and particularly into the hips and the hamstrings. So please do be mindful of any injuries. When you are coming into splits, it is a very deep surrender state to be in. So really use your breath as much as you can and really listen to your body. So the reason I was called to do this was because we are in Aries season, and not only are we Sun in Aries, we have an entire stellium of planets in Aries. We've got the Sun, Mercury retrograding in Aries. Venus has joined the party today. The North Node is in Aries, and Chiron, the wounded healer, is also in the sign of the warrior, which is Aries. So a lot going on. I've chosen Hanumanasana. That's what this pose is called in Sanskrit. Because Hanumanasana is very much associated with the sign of Aries. Hanuman is he's the monkey god. He is very energetic, and the splits pose, the Hanuman pose, comes from Hanuman assisting Ram or Rama when Sita was kidnapped by a demon and taken off to Sri Lanka. I think his name was Rava. So Rava kidnapped Sita, and in aid of Rama, Hanuman decided to become much larger, and he leapt the water distance between the two lands of the south of India over to Sri Lanka to go and get her. So obviously a giant leap. It is also the 4th of the 4th, 24 when I'm recording this. So it's a bit of a portal day. I have got the 4 of Wands tarot card out here. I'm probably too far away for you to see. But it's a massive sort of celebrational, transportational kind of energy. And I've got the Fool card out as well. I've also, because that's taking the leap of faith. I've also got out the Magician, because the Magician holds all 4 elements through the tools of the aces, the wands, the cup, the sword and the pentacle, to form the 4 tools. And the Emperor is card number 4, who is a balanced warrior, so also associated with the sign of Aries and a number 4. So yeah, we're knocking on the door of number 4, taking the big leap, and really stretching it out in the splits. So that's enough from me on the reasons as to why I am doing this class today. And let's get started. So come to a seat and bring the soles of the feet to meet, and start to allow the knees to bend out, and start to just pulse your knees up and down. Hold on to your feet and just start to feel those hip flexors, so this sort of tendon in here starting to waken up in our bound angle pose. Lovely. Bring your hands to just behind or beside the hips, a little bit wider than the hips. Plant both feet, and we're going to allow the knees to fall from side to side opening those hips up nice and gently. I've also got a lot of crystals out that you can probably see just here in front of the mat. They're very symbolic of Aries energy. There we go. And then we're going to stay in the same position but start to kick each leg up and down, flat-footed. So the foot is flexed, getting a nice stretch up the back of the hamstrings. Lovely. And then cross the legs, so guide one foot towards the pelvis, allow that knee to bend and fall open, and then just let the other foot come in front of that foot near the pelvis, coming to a seat. Take a deep breath and exhale it. And another one. As you do, try and really elongate your spine. Aries is the root chakra associated, the Muladhara chakra, and coming into the splits, we are really going to be trying to bring that Muladhara chakra down to ground, to the mat. So a really good idea to just lift the pelvic floor and breathe into that space at the base of your spine. Lovely. And then take one hand to your opposite knee, the other comes behind the sit bones and twist, awakening the spine. Nice long spine, trying to really breathe into that pelvic area, sending the breath up and down the spine, awakening that fire that lies at the bottom of the spine. When you're ready, you're going to switch it over. As you twist, inhale, and as you relax into it, exhale. And come back to center. You're going to take one hand to the mat and just open up that side body. Feeling a nice stretch up the lateral side of the body. And when you're ready, switch it over, ground the other palm and open the other lateral side body. Fantastic. And bring both hands to the mat. Draw your knees underneath the hips. Make sure your hands are directly below the shoulders. And we're going to come into some cat-cows. So inhaling, looking up, allowing the spine to dip. Exhale, push the ground away. Really awakening that tailbone's lower spinal area. As when we come into our splits, we're going to need a lot of flexion in our lower spine. Inhale into your cow. Exhale, push the ground away around the spine in your cat. Do 3 more. Flow with the breath at your own pace. Lovely. And step your left foot forward. Stack that knee over the foot and come into your lunge shape. Just going to shuffle this knee forward a little bit, this back one. I'm going to take the arms out. They can stay on the hips if your balance is better here. I'm going to take mine out straight in front of me and start to kick my heel up towards my glute, my butt cheek. Kick my butt. We want to strengthen and lengthen those hamstrings for the splits. If we've got strong ones, then we've got a better chance of them remaining strong when we are stretching them. And we're going to straighten that front leg and pull it back, coming into a straight leg, point the toes up to the sky in this half Hanumanasana pose. And we're going to sink forward into the hips, opening up the back of that hamstring. Exhale as you fold into Hanuman. Inhale as you come into your lunge shape. And flow through 4 more of these. 2, 3, 4. Lovely. I'm going to walk, keeping this leg straight and the foot pointed up to the sky. We're going to rotate to our torso to the long edge of the mat and just rock back and forth, opening up that hip and that upper hamstring in this swinging gait pose. If it's more comfortable, you can plant the foot here and take the edge off of that inner thigh stretch. Lovely. Now bend that knee underneath you and stretch out the other foot. And we're going to do the same thing in our gate pose on the other side. Lovely. And swivel all the way around until you are back into that half Hanuman shape. And we're going to fold a little here and open that back of the hamstring. Maybe give your ankle a little rotation here as well. And we're going to sink into that Hanumanasana, that lunge, and fold back into our Hanuman, straightening the leg. Two more. Great, end in your lunge, and we're going to do that hamstring strengthening on the other leg, so kicking butt on the other side, as I like to call it. Fab. Bring the hands to the mat. You might want to start bringing your blocks in here, as we're going to come into a deep forward fold. So if you need to bring the ground up here, remember you can use your blocks here. So find a comfortable distance for your feet to be apart and start to hinge at the hips, folding, allowing the torso to meet the thighs. Can have a soft bend here if it's the first one of the day. If you can reach the floor here, great. Take some breaths. Allow the head to hang and the spine to be long. And when you're ready, come all the way to standing. We're going to sweep the arms up overhead, engaging the glutes and all of your leg muscles. Inhale, invitation to come into a bit of a mini back bend, making sure those glutes are activated for that. Bring your hands to heart center, just stand nice and tall in your mountain. Fabulous. And we're going to step back I'm going to step back with my right foot into a high lunge. So you are up on the foot flex, knee is stacked over the ankle on the other leg, and raise the arms up overhead. Fabulous. And see if you can bring the knee down to the mat and back up, sort of bouncing and pulsing. Now see if you can do it and not touch the mat, and then hold and pulse and hold. Fantastic. Bring the hands down to the mat. I'm going to walk the left foot out to the edge of the mat and turn the toes out. So the foot is pointing away from you, the toes are pointing away from you. Ground through one hand, the other hand, and bring the other hand to the knee. And start to guide it open as you look over your shoulder in your lizard. You can stay here, or you can kick butt again and see if you can grab the foot here in this sort of twisted lizard, and see if you can twist around deeper. Now see if you can pull that foot, closer to the glute, getting a nice stretch of the front of the quad, really sending those hips, driving the hips down towards the mat. Wonderful. Shimmy the foot in a little, and then see if you can bring your shoulder down underneath the bent leg and hook it over your shoulder. And breathe here for a few moments. Really opening those hips. Fabulous. Bring your hands back to center. I'm going to push the hands into the mat. Step that foot back into our Hanumanasana, our plank pose, making sure those shoulders are over the fingertips. Drop the knees down, bend the elbows and lower the chest, grip the sides of the torso, lower the chest and the chin down to the mat, arched spine here, in your knees, chin, chest, your Ashtanga Namaskara, and then slide the chest forward, option to come up into your Sphinx on the forearms, into your Cobra with a gentle bend in the elbows, or up onto the backs of the feet, straighten arms in your up dog. Lovely. Now send the hips up and back into a downward facing dog. Nice triangle shape. If you feel you've got a rounded back here, or it's a big pull on the hamstrings, then just put a little soft bend into those knees. Fabulous. Now step the right foot forward, and rise up into your lunge, your high lunge on the other side. Making sure that knee is stacked over ankle. And we're going to bring the knee down to the mat and up, and down and up, and down and up. And then we're going to see if we can pulse without the knee touching. And hold, 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 and pulse. Lovely. And bring the hands down to the mat. We're going to find that twisted lizard on the other side. So walk that foot out, point the toes out, hand comes to the knee, other hand plants to the mat, and twist and look over the shoulder. Again, you might just want to stay here, or kick some butt and grab the foot. Twisting deeper if you're here with me, and see if you can pull that foot closer to the glute. Well done. Walk that other foot back in, and again see if you can hook that knee over the shoulder. See if you can come down to the forearms, really opening that hip in your lizard. Lovely. Bring the hands back to centre. Come up onto the toes on the back. Step the other foot back into your plank. Shift the weight forward a little bit so that the shoulders are over the fingertips. Hold your Hanumanasana, squeeze the core, drop the knees, shift the shoulders past the fingertips, bend the elbows, dip the spine, lower the chest and chin to the mat in your Ashtanga Namaskar. Scoop it forward into your back bend of choice. Shift the hips up into your down dog and hop or tiptoe your feet to the top edge of the mat. Lowering, folding, remembering if you need your blocks, coming into a deep forward fold. If you can, see if you can reach the arms behind the calves and hug the head closer to the shins. Lovely. Come up for a moment. Woo. Lovely. So standing tall in your mountain again. Raise the arms up and fold back down. You may want your blocks here again. We aren't going to come into a full deep forward fold though. What we're going to do is bend one leg. And in bending, I'm bending my right leg. In bending this leg, you should feel a deeper stretch through the opposite leg. You might want to stay here. Or you can bring the right hand slightly more central between the feet and open the arm up into a bit of a twist. If you have the flexibility, see if you can bend the arm behind you and grasp your inner hip crease and top of the thigh, making a nice twist here. Unwind, bring the arm down and switch it over. So bend the left knee, feeling that deeper stretch. Maybe you centralise that hand. You might also be on your block here, doing this like so. And open out the other side, as we did before. And you might see it better this side, finding that hip crease and the upper thigh to grasp onto in a twist. Try and keep the neck relaxed here, no crunching. And windmill the arm back down and round. Come into a flat back here momentarily in your halfway lift. Bend the knees a little, hands to heart center and rise back up. Fab. Now a little bit of balance here. You're going to raise the left foot into this bent knee position and see if you can grab the bottom of the foot. If that is a bit tricky, then you can use a strap. Forgot to mention the strap at the beginning of the video. Fortunately, I do have it to hand. You can hook a strap around the bottom of the foot and kick it forward like so to bridge the gap between the arms and the foot here. Get a nice juicy stretch in your standing balance. If you can reach the foot, grill, kick it forward, feel that juicy stretch here. Trying to keep a straight spine here. Lovely. And when you're ready, switch it over. Raise the opposite knee. Find the foot. And kick that foot forward. Trying to gaze forward at an unmoving point, or maybe gaze at your actual foot to help keep your balance here. Really engaging the core and the legs here. And bring both feet back down. Roll the ankles out a little. Fabulous. And we're going to fold forward again. And you may want to be on your blocks here. Or if reaching the ground is okay. Brilliant. We're going to kick the leg behind us. So just lifting it to level with our spine or a little bit higher. Point your toe. So I'm pointing my left toes. And we're just going to start to pulse and kick, 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 kick that leg. Keep breathing. Maybe you can do this here. Fab. Bring the foot back down and switch it over. Pushing into the ground on your blocks here. Pointing that toe. Kick, 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 kick. And bring both feet back to the mat. Take the feet out a little wider, closer to the width of the mat. Come up onto the toes, bend the knees and drop the bum down into this little froggy shape. And flex, straighten the legs, flatten the feet, then back up onto the balls of the feet and lower into your frog. Exhale and fold. Inhale up onto the balls of the feet and squat into your frog. And flow like this. Lovely, come all the way up. And have a little break here, just in case you've got a little bit of blood running to the head here. Bring the feet back together, as close as is comfortable apart for you. And bend the left leg and see if you can grab the foot. Maybe you want to bring the other hand to the hip here. And see if you can flip your grip on that foot. So sort of rotate the hand and see if you can pull that foot closer to the glute. Maybe you want to do this with both hands, play around, see what's more comfortable for you, what works for you. Nice quad stretch, switch it over. See if you can flip that grip and push it in. Or use both hands. Lovely. Sweep the arms up. Option to mini back bend here again. And bring it all the way down, hinging at the hips, into your fold again. Bring your left hand closer to the center between your feet. Push into the ground and kick your foot up. And see if you can bend the knee and grab the foot. You might want to come up onto your fingertips here. Really ground through that foot, and you should feel a powerful stretch through the standing leg. Maybe you want to try this with the opposite arm, grabbing the leg. Play around, see what's accessible for you. The important thing is we're getting that stretch through the back of the leg. Now switch it over. Bend the other knee. See if you can grab the foot. Maybe switch it over. So bring the opposite hand to the mat or fingertips or block. There we go. And rise back up to standing. Lovely. Should do lots of stretching through those backs of those legs, haven't we? Open the feet out and sit all the way down onto your mat. Just take a few breaths here for a moment. I'm going to swivel to face the long edge of the mat. You can stay facing the short edge. I'm mostly doing this so that you can see better what I'm about to do. We're going to pick up, doesn't matter which foot, pick up a foot and allow it to rest, bending into this sort of figure 4 shape. It's the 4th of the 4th, 24. So we're making a 4 shape with our legs. And bring the hands to plant just behind the hips on the ground behind you. My fingers are pointing forward. So I'll show you from the side and from the front. And flex this foot that's latched onto the thigh powerfully. I'm going to start to twist from side to side. Allowing the knee followed by the foot. So knee goes down one side, foot comes down the other side. Lovely. And we're just going to switch it over and do the other side. So making sure that foot is powerfully latched onto the leg. So you can do this further away from you and make more space and be wider, or you can do it tighter. Find where is comfortable for you in your flexibility level today. Our flexibility is different on different days, depending on what activities we're doing, our hormone levels, our energy levels, all kinds of things. And unwind. And so if you don't find yourself gliding into the splits today, then don't be disheartened. It took me about 6 months solidly, all through lockdown, to nail my splits. I mean, like every day. So they don't just come instantly, but all of these poses are definitely fab ones to help unlock your splits, and ones that I did repeatedly to help me unlock my splits. So from there, we're going to just swivel to be facing the short edge of the mat again. You may already be facing that way around, doesn't matter. And allow the legs to come out long. We're going to bend one knee and take it out to the side. So you've got this sort of angle. The foot is on the outer side of the hip. You might find yours out a little bit wider. Try and make it narrow. I'm just going to sit like this for a moment. And bring that knee back and put the leg back down. I'm going to do it on the other side. So bend that knee and allow it to rotate out externally, bringing the foot flexed towards the outer edge of the opposite hip, and just sit. Fab. Bring it back in front of you. Now we're going to bring the foot to the inner thigh and let that knee fall open. And see if you can bend the other knee here and grab the foot. If you can grab the foot, kick that foot upwards, making sure both sit bones are grounded powerfully down to the mat. Maybe play with bending and straightening the leg here. You can also try this with the leg straight. So play around, have it the leg straight, the leg bent, and see if you can draw the foot closer and closer to the face, keeping a nice straight spine here. So we're not lurching forward, trying to bring our face to our leg. We're bringing the leg to the face, not the face to the leg. Lovely. And switch it over. So bend the other knee, bringing that sole of the foot to the inner thigh. Foot bends. Sit like this for a moment. Sitting nice and tall, really grounding down through that root. Lovely. And then bend that knee, grab the foot and kick that foot up. Do it a few times here. Then try with the legs straight I find that I can get my leg higher when both are straight. Different bodies, different shapes, different days. Play around, see what works for you. Oh, fabulous. And straighten those legs back out again. Now we're going to roll onto our side and prop ourselves up on our forearm like so. Legs come long, like a little long mermaid here. And then we're going to bend the knee and see if we can grab the foot here in our Vishnu pose. And see if you can go deeper and deeper and deeper, pulling this leg further and further back. You might also want to hook the fingers around the toes and see if you can bring it more and more open here. Fabulous. Let the leg go back down. Come up, bend the, this is my right leg. So whichever leg was on the bottom in your Vishnu pose, then bend that leg and allow the toes to come towards the pelvis. And we're going to come and see if we can push into the palm, allowing this arm to bend towards the knee and towards the ground, and bring the other arm up overhead into a side bend. See if you can come down onto the forearm. Maybe you find you can reach or grab your toe here and rotate the chest open. Massively powerful stretch through the side body here. Fantastic. Oh, lovely side stretch. In that Paravita Janu. Now, keeping this leg bent, you can have a go at coming into your Paravita Janu again, as we did before, or you can come back into your Vishnu pose, or lifting your leg in your seat. Otherwise, we're going to allow this knee to bend, and we're going to try and come into a compass pose. So bend this knee and point the toes out a little. I like to hook the toes around the fingers around the big toe, or grab the outer blade of the foot and lean into the opposite sit bone, plant the palm and see if you can kick the foot up to the sky. You can also use this sort of shoulder and elbow to help push against and really open that thigh up and that leg up. So you can sort of bring the knee level with the back of the shoulder and use it as a hinging lever and point the toes up to the sky. Fabulous if you're with me here. And bring that leg into a bent position. You're going to slide the feet out and come to lie on the other side, stretching out that side body. On the other side, after that compass, straighten the legs. Maybe you want to bend the leg and grab the leg, or maybe you can kick it up and catch the leg. Option is yours. I'm going to hook my fingers around my big toe and start to open up in my Vishnu pose. On the other side. Breathing wherever you are. If you have a bit of a bend in your knee, doesn't matter. It's your body, your flexibility. Different levels on different days, as I've said before. Now push up, bend the knee of the leg that was underneath. Let the other leg come out to the side. So a sort of side split on one side, bent on the other. And we're going to come back into that Paravita Janu on the opposite side. So bringing that elbow or that hand down to the mat. The other one comes up overhead. Seeing if you can reach, really breathe in to the side body. Maybe on one side it's easier, maybe on one side it's trickier. Wherever you are, breathe. If you're trying to grab the toe, make sure you're really rotating that chest open and you're not just sort of slumping. And breathe all the way back up to center. Fabulous. Now, I'm going to try for that compass on the other side. So bend the knee, allow the foot to point out away from you. Plant the right hand and use the opposite hand, the left hand, to grab the foot. Really ground in through the sit bones and start to kick the leg up. Woo! You might find one side is easier than the other. I always find the opposite side easier than this one, as you may be able to tell. Keep breathing. Ooh, and that's enough for me on that side. And bring it down into a cross-leg position momentarily. And just take a few breaths. Now, see if you can bring the shin into a bit of a right angle and flex the foot. And grab the other foot and flex it. And see if you can stack that flexed foot on top of the opposite knee. You might find that your legs stay like this. If they do, you can pop a block under there to help out that knee with some support. You might be happy with it like this, that's fine. If you can, let it sink down and push into it. If it's really uncomfortable and your knee's up here, I suggest don't push into it, just let it hang out there. Otherwise, push into that knee in this fire log pose. I've got my opposite hand that's not on the knee, just behind the sit bones to make my spine sit nice and tall. And when you're ready, I'm going to try and do this without knocking the crystals over. Raise up the arms and fold, hinging at the hips forward. You might want to stack the fists here and allow the head to fold onto the fists, or have a block here or here. Feel a nice deep stretch through the backs of the hamstrings. Lovely. Slide it up, switch it over. So see if you can straighten one leg and then pop the other foot onto the knee and do it all in one motion. Woohoo! Or maybe you just want to bend and stack like we did before. I'm just going to shift myself the other way slightly, otherwise I'm going to fold and get a crystal in my forehead. Maybe you want to push down on that knee. Remember, if you need a block on this side, sitting nice and tall, really grounding down through that Muladhara. When you're ready, inhale the arms up and hinge at the hips, exhaling, fold forward. Really deep hip opener, this one. And when you're ready, rise back up. Beautiful. I'm just going to take another few breaths here because I'm quite like, ooh. Getting some good vibes in this one. When you're ready, we're going to start moving into those splits. So you might want your blocks at the ready here. We're going to first come into a pigeon to open us up a little bit more, and then I'm going to show you trying to slide using the blocks and the socks, and then I'll show you coming in without the blocks and the socks. So we're going to come into a very low, long lunge position and find that half Hanuman again, and really see if you can fold over the legs here. You might want your blocks here, and shuffle around, see where they're comfortable, and fold like this. I've got a little leg tremor going on here. Maybe rotate your ankle around if you've got any leg tremors, give your toes a wriggle, see if that helps sort them out. Lovely. And then walk out. So if you're coming into a lizard again, and just allow the foot to roll over onto the side, onto the blade edge of the foot. So you can see the knees just opening out, and see as I open out, the hips drop. You again might want to be playing around with this on your blocks, just sort of opening this hip out into external rotation here and sinking the hip down to the mat. You've got a couple of options of coming into your pigeon. You can slide the heel towards the hip. You might want your blocks here again, and allow the pelvis to sink down towards the mat with the heel quite close towards the inner hip area, and your pigeon might be here. You might find that you can get down to here, and so you need some blocks to support you here, or a cushion. So you can have a higher pigeon with block support or cushion support here. If you have a bolster, that's a bit more comfortable than your blocks. Otherwise, if you've got your pigeon, then maybe have a little play with bending and straightening the knee on the blade of the foot, and then sink down into your pigeon. Getting comfy, have a little shift around in the hips, making sure this back leg is really pointing powerfully back behind you. And you might want to fold here. Beautiful. Walk your way back up. Slide that leg back under, and just sit in your Vajrasana for a moment. Did some deep stretching there in our pigeon. Lovely. Now we're going to do that pigeon on the other side. So remembering what I demonstrated and just transferring it over to the other side. So I'm just going to go straight in with my half Hanuman in preparation. And sink a little in my Hanumanasana. Walk it out a bit and do that sort of lizard rotation of the hip. Remembering if you want your blocks here, you can add a little bit more space and support. And I like to walk my foot to the other side, give another stretch, and really fold over. Walking it to the opposite edge of the mat, I like to get a nice stretch all the way up the back side of the leg, which really helps with then when I flip onto the outer blade of the foot, my knee is ready to open out and down, coming into that straight-legged pigeon at the front or closer to it. I always find to walk the back foot back away from the front leg is better than trying to shuffle the front one forward as well. Allowing a bit of a curve in the spine here, and then fold forward if you would like to, going really deep into that pigeon. Really use your breath here. If you have any emotional release here, know that this is normal. We store a lot of emotion on our hips. When you're ready, walk it back up, slide the foot back under you, coming back into your Vajrasana, your thunderbolt pose. Sit nice and tall and just take some breath. Okay, so I'm going to slide my mat over to the side and just pop my socks on. So this is always going to work better on a slidey floor. So if you've got a hardwood floor or a tiled floor, this is always going to work better. If you're trying to sort of slide on your mat and you've got quite a grippy mat, the socks are probably just going to like scrape the surface off of your mat. But some people find this a nice way to sort of glide down and find that it gives them a little bit more movement. So we can get our blocks. Maybe get some padding just for your knee if you are on the floor and you find a lot of discomfort with being on the knee. So we're going to find that sort of lunge shape and come up on our blocks. I like to have the blocks about level with where my pelvis is dropped. And then we're going to slide that leg out straight in front of us and just slowly invite the lowering down to the ground in our splits. Maybe you can take your hands off of the blocks now, really making sure we're driving both hips down and straight forward. Lovely. And slide back out when you're ready. If you don't come all the way down and your Muladhara did not hit the floor, your pelvis did not hit the floor, don't worry. The more you do these exercises, the more your body will open up. If you feel any searing pain anywhere, back out. Always listen to your body. Use your breath and any signals your body is giving you. So take a deep breath and exhale. And slide and glide down into your split. Really, really flexing the front foot. Maybe you can slide your blocks out of the way. Really trying to root down and push through the hands and let the leg slide back again. Woohoo! If you just landed your splits, fabulous. If you got anywhere towards them, fabulous, well done. It is quite a brave leap of a pose, is Hanumanasana, which is why I have chosen it for Aries season. So that was with socks and blocks. Let's get the socks and blocks out of the way and come back to the mat. And I'll show you coming down without the blocks. And then we'll see about flipping it straight over into the opposite way round. And then I'll show you what I mean when I'm doing it. And then we will come into our cool down, thankfully. Okay, so I'm going to start with my left foot forward. I'm going to fold into my Hanumanasana, my half Hanumanasana. And then just start to invite the heel to slide forward. You might give it a wiggle as you go down and let the back foot walk back a bit. Open, arch the back, send, puff the chest up towards the sky. And this helps lower the pelvis down, really making sure that both the pelvis is pointing forward and straight. And then you can stay like this and walk the hands to the center as the torso twists and come up onto the opposite heel. So you're in like a high middle split. And see if you can bring the other knee down and rotate it round to the other side. Have a little fold in your half Hanuman. Ooh, I've got real bad leg shakes. Slide the heel forward. Give it a wiggle. Ooh. And sink and puff your chest. Breathe. Wonderful. And sink the weight to one side and let the other leg come forward and round. Ah, goodness me. What a deep stretch. I feel like I very much connected my Muladhara to the ground. Very much opened it, very much balanced it. Woo! And wherever you got to, well done. Fabulous, brave, deep stretching. Just going to sit in our staff pose for a moment with a nice long spine. You can stay here, breathing, or invitation to raise the arms overhead, hinge at the hips and sink forward. It is more on the backs of the legs, but we have a nice fold here. You might find you come a lot deeper into your deep forward fold than normal after doing your splits, after all that hamstring opening. But if you come to here where the knees are, the shins, wherever, just make sure you've got a nice flat back and that you're guiding the crown of the head, pulling that spine long forward and down. Embrace any leg tremors you've got going on. I've got a lot of leg tremors. My legs can really tell I have worked them hard. And slide your way back up. Bend the knees and give the legs a hug. Squeeze the leg muscles. Squeeze, 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 squeeze. They've just done so much stretching. Let's now squeeze and tense them. Lovely. Bring the hands out behind your hips and raise the feet. Really switch on your core. See if you can lift the hands and squeeze the feet and the knees together. Squeeze, 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 squeeze. Really switch on those muscles. We've stretched them beyond capacity. The furthest they will go. Now we are tensing to balance it back out. Maybe you can lengthen the legs here. Woo! And drop them down. Fabulous. Now roll down onto your back. We finally get the lie down. Okay. And bring the knees up. And reach your fingers towards the big toes. Hook the elbows inside the knees. Maybe you grab the outer edge of the feet. And just sort of rock from side to side in your happy baby. Making sure that tailbone is pulled down towards the ground. Maybe you bend and straighten the legs here. Feeling it out. Maybe you keep them bent. And maybe you just have a static happy baby. And bring the knees together, cross the ankles over and squeeze yourself into a ball. Bring the head up towards the knees and squeeze, squeeze, squeeze everything. Deep breaths. And relax back down, cross the opposite leg over. Bring the head up, squeeze, squeeze, squeeze into a ball. Squeeze, squeeze, tiny, tight little ball. Lovely. And release. And bring the feet to the mat. And let the legs be long. Turn the palms up to the sky. And you can stay here for as long as you like. Just chilling in your Shavasana. You deserve it. Remember, you can come back and do this class anytime you want to. I'm sure each time you do the class, you will manage to sink deeper and open those legs and that pelvic area more and more, really improving your flexibility. It really, really does balance the emotions and ground the emotions. But we should never push beyond our limits. Aries is the warrior, and it has a tendency to push. I am the strongest, I am the best, I am the bravest. With Chiron partying out in Aries at the moment, however, it's asking us to surrender our warrior, to balance our warrior, and to know that we are enough as we are. We are strong enough and powerful enough and a warrior enough as we are. We don't have to push. We don't have to fight for it. We are enough as we are. Maybe you want to bring a hand to heart center and one to the sacral chakra. So the chest and the belly, lower belly. I invite you to stay here. I'm going to roll to the side. And thank you very much for joining me in this super flexy, stretchy Hanumanasana class. And thank you for joining me and taking a great big leap towards your splits and a leap in through the portal into the future, embracing the unknown of the future of the 4th of the 4th, 24. Happy Aries season. Namaste.